Mr. Creepy Jim Crow Joe, Mr. Touchy Feely, had said recently one of the most ridiculous things that could have come out of his mouth. He's half right on what he said, but he is not completely right. And this is probably why he needs to recalibrate his meds if he hasn't done so already. So, in case y'all don't know, Joe Biden recently just came out and said that Trump is the first racist U.S. president. When someone sent me this, I said, is he sure about that? Has he looked through the history of all these presidents that we have had in the past, these past 44 presidents that we've had, to really come to that assessment that he's the first racist president? I and many others will beg to differ that he is the first racist president. Because there have been way more. And the fact that he came out and he said that as if that he's the only one is absolutely absurd. And by the way, Joe Biden, should you win the presidency, you will be added to that list of racist presidents. I don't know why he doesn't think he's not racist himself, but many people who are racist don't think that they are, even though the evidence is definitely there. Former Vice President Joe Biden on Wednesday called 45 the first racist president in U.S. history. That is a whole lie, because there have been way more presidents that were racist before him. Speaking at a virtual town hall organized by the Service Employees International Union, Biden offered the assessment of the president after Suk Kim, a South Korean immigrant, detailed an experience she had been racially profiled at a supermarket and expressed concern over 45's virus rhetoric, including referring to the virus as the China virus. The presumptive 2020 Democratic presidential nominee said he was so angry after learning of her experience before criticizing 45 for spreading his spreading of racism. The way he deals with people based on the color of their skin, their national origin, where they're from, is absolutely sickening, Biden said. No sitting president has ever done this. Never, never, never. They may not have come out of their mouths and said this stuff, but their actions definitely prove otherwise. Let's not forget what Tricky Dick Nixon did. Let's not forget what Ronald Reagan did. Let's not forget what Bill Clinton did, and so many others. And let's not forget what you did prior to you running for president, Joe Biden. You signed you drafted up that 1994 crime bill that affected a lot of black people. Let's not forget that. That's why I don't know why he's trying to sit on this high horse. I'm saying, Joe Biden, if you get elected, you're going to be seen as a racist president too. But even before you even became president. No Republican president has done this. No Democratic president, he continued. We've had races and they've existed. They tried to get elected president, but he's the first one that has. And the way he pits people against one another is designed to divide the country, divide people, not pull them together. Asked about the remarks during a press conference Wednesday, 45 cited the passage of the First Step Act and the lower unemployment rate among Black and Hispanic Americans during his term prior to the China plague coming in. I've done more for Black Americans than anybody with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln. And I know what he's referring to. And even that's a whole nother story. No one has ever been close. And of course, his co-colonizing cohorts are going to back that up because he loves to peddle that whole thing that he's done so much for Black people. Yet when the topic of reparations comes up, everyone gets silent on both sides. That's the part right there that lets us know the mindset on either side. They keep trying to pull us to one side and this side. Look, I'm on nobody's side. Really, personally, for me, I'm on nobody's side. And when you tell them that and you give them reasons as to why they get mad at you for even saying that, so why even bother? Trump has been accused of fomenting anti-Asian sentiment by referring to the novel virus as the China virus, Kung flu, and the China pandemic. It's worth being noted that several of the nation's past presidents either held slaves or otherwise expressed racist views, which is very true. The White House itself was constructed with slave labor. The Biden campaign and statement later acknowledged past racist presidents, but said Trump stands out among them. There have been a number of racist American presidents, but Trump stands out, especially in modern history, because he made running on racism and division in his calling card and won. Biden campaign senior advisor Simone, oh look, it's linebacker built, said he deliberately foments both, intentionally causing indescribable pain because he thinks it advantages him politically. 45 has previously claimed Biden called him racist and xenophobic for restricting travel from China earlier this year. Biden has labeled Trump's handling of the pandemic as xenophobic, though did not tie that claim specifically to the travel restrictions. Biden's comments Wednesday appeared to be the first time the former vice president has directly called Trump a racist. The former vice president has previously accused Trump of having fanned the flames of white supremacy and compared the president to former Alabama Governor George Wallace, who ran for president on a segregationist platform. Katrina Pearson, a Trump campaign senior advisor, said in a statement that Trump loves all people, works hard to empower all Americans, and is supported by more black voters than any Republican presidential candidate in modern history. No one should take lectures on racial justice from Joe Biden. Listen, I don't give a damn what either one of them does. I really don't care what happens in November, because as far as I'm concerned, we are screwed either way. We are. When they voted for 45 back in 2016, and we found out that Joe Biden was running this year, to run, I said, oh yeah, we're screwed either way. It doesn't really matter. Between the mishandlings of this pandemic here in the States particularly, and creepy Jim Crow Joe and all his stuff in his past, we're screwed either way. So why bother? I'm like this. Let the chips fall where they may. That's where I'm at with it right now, as far as I'm concerned. Some people will agree, some will not. And if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. It is at the end of the day, in America, you have a right to your opinion, and that's mine. And in my opinion, we are done. No matter who gets in that White House, or no matter if someone gets back in. That's how I feel. But for Joe Biden to say that 45 is the first racist president in U.S. history, that's a flat out lie. That is a flat out lie. I will definitely say he's a unique one. He's definitely very interesting compared to the others. But to say that he's the first racist one, that couldn't be more further from the truth. I wonder, what the hell were you thinking just coming out and saying something like that? Because you can pull up a list of the presidents and the stuff that they did. Even in the article, it says some of them even owned slaves. The White House in which the president dwells was built on slave labor. So what does that tell you, Joe Biden? You about to try to live in the quarters of what was built by slaves. My ancestors that did not get a dime for building that structure, which has now become a very famous monument in itself. Yeah, I don't know what the hell he was thinking saying that 45 was the first racist president. Is he a racist? Most definitely. But the first racist president? Hell no. And he won't be the last. Especially if he doesn't get reelected and you, creepy Jim Crow Joe, Mr. Touchy-Feely Biden, gets in.